Tour of Kurt's shop, take one.
Did you hit start? Okay. So here's the shop. It's a smallish 2-car garage, 20 by 20. I don't think you could ever actually get 2 cars in here unless you had everything completely out. We've only ever had 1 car, and that's what the intended purpose going forward is that I have 1 car in here. Right now it's set up so it can't have any cars, but I'll explain that later. So this is obviously the door you come in. My attempt at a recycling area, so that's done. So move over this way. My clamp rack, which is pretty small. I can't ever have too many clamps, but I'll keep continuing to get it on that. This is one of the newer tools that I got from Auto. This is a 12-inch bandsaw, circa 1980-ish, mid-80s product. It's nice. I don't like the table that much, and I'm having trouble with the wheels, but I'll have to figure out how to get that fixed. Next up is the belt sander and this sander combination. This belt sander will go up, so you can stand up top and you can move this table to that side. I have not done that yet, so I'm not even sure that this one still does it, but I like it down flat so far for whatever I've been using. This stand is where it came with. I put it on wheels because of obviously the need to be able to move things around. I added some shelving to store all my other sanders. There's a belt sander, little mouse sander, 2 spinning disc sanders, and a corner sander. So I've got sanders galore. Next up I have a router table where I have a DeWalt router in there. I'm not sure what size it is. It's manual lift, so it takes a while to get it all set up, but otherwise it seems to be okay. Put in these drawers into the base. The base came from an old saw that I used to have on here, but I got rid of the saw, but I just put this on top of that. And when I built the base, I added the drawers to hold the router bits and then router parts.
Why don't you have that on wheels like the other 2 pieces?
Because the router moves is a really high vibration move thing, and I would just start spinning across the thing even with the wheels locked out, I think. So I also want it to be a lot more stable because it has a small top, and if I'm moving things around on it, you can move pieces. I don't want to have it. It has become a problem, a little bit of a pain because it's not on wheels to move, because it is heavy. I can't move it with one arm. On the wall here, this bookshelf was here when we moved in the house 15 plus years ago. It was upside down or proper way up, just leaning against the wall and ready to fall over any minute. So I flipped it up and put it attached it to the ceiling and started storing things important to have jam tunes. I have all kinds of tools in here. Obviously I have a Dremel, I have another router, a trim router, fasteners in here, and then I put this up to hold the drills and drivers, and then also the air tools. So I have 3 different size air nailers on the wall. Below that I have chisels for the shopsmith for when I want to use it as a lathe. Right now that's not being used as that for different reasons, but I want to continue to get built up with that. Saw blade storage. There's a dovetail jig up there, the Craig jig, which is incredibly important, and then some more shopsmith stuff.
What are these things?
What things? This? More clamps? What do you want to know?
The battery holder.
Oh, the battery chargers are for the different battery tools and stuff like that.
But you made that.
Oh yes, I made that. Yeah. So on the floor is a bunch of shopsmith products. I need to finally figure out how to put a shelving on the shopsmith to kind of hold all this stuff. It's just one of the many different things I want to work on at some point. Against the wall here, I've utilized what's called the French cleat system, which allows you to build different accessories to hold things. So you just can pull it off and redesign things as you want, if you want to have things in a different order. And it allows me to also kind of have a place for everything, because you don't put anything away if you don't have a place for it. Not that I put everything away all the time, but we can pretend. So I have some Harbor Freight tools, which, you know, quality-wise probably aren't the best, but for these things I use very rarely, they're nice to just have, and they've been very, very important for a couple little projects that have just been made things go very easily. So I got all kinds of tools there. Then here I built this tool chest, sliding, it's on rolls, rollers, and everything else. The two reasons why I built it was, one, I had this slate top that came from Autos. I wanted somewhere to put that was nice and flat and smooth. In theory, I was going to do the sharpening, which I haven't yet done here. I'll explain that. Obviously, I wanted drawers because I've got all kinds of tools and other things in here. You know, they come out and I have all the you know, screwdrivers and other things in here. But the big reason why I also had this is the big at the bottom is this storage here for all the saw blades. There was, from Auto Shop, there was quite a bit of saw blades, and I needed a way to keep them somewhat rust-free, dust-free, which is, rust problems are always a challenge. So that's what I built this thing for, in addition to the other things. Next to that is a miter saw. It's a smallish miter saw, but it works great. It's a skill saw. This is one that I think you gave me, Becky might have given me for Christmas one time. It's been very important. I've used it a ton. I built a stand for it. It's also on wheels. And it can be pulled out, so if I have really long pieces of board, I can go wherever I need to with them. It's set up smooth here with the table so that it can support the board if I need to, if I'm going this direction. For a workbench, I have this I have two workbenches, basically the same size. They're 2 feet by 4 feet, 2.5 feet by 4 feet. This one I bolted to the wall, so it won't move. It's not, but it's budged, but it's level and flat. Added the whatever this thing is, the jaws of life here to help me be able to hold things. Current project. Then I got this drill press from a friend of mine. He just gave it to me free, so it's nice to have a drill press. It's a little bit on the small side, but the Shopsmith gives you the full range of arbors, and I can use that as well for a drill press. Below that, just a bunch of storage. Nothing too exciting with that. Then next to this is the most ancient and coolest tool of the group, I guess, in some ways. This is, I think it was mid-50s era DeWalt radial arm saw. So this just slides out. You get a whole lot more distance, obviously, than you could with the 10-inch miter saw. I still need to hook up some kind of vacuum system to it, and I'd like to get a different tabletop just because this one's been cut up so much that it'd be smoother. But again, this is all even with the table here too, so that I can do boards all the way across. Basically, I got probably 15 feet that way and another 5 feet that way. Above that I have, again, French cleats process. This one's actually screwed to the wall, but all the other stuff is French cleats on the wall. Can be moved around. Even the, whoops, of course I dropped that, but that can be moved again. These things just slide on and off for that. Saw storage, and this is kind of an interesting tool. This is the 1912 Atkins, or 1914, I can't remember, Atkins floor saw, which I still haven't figured out how to use, but it's an interesting piece. It's over 100 years old, and it's just kind of cool that there's something like that.
Did that come from my dad?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
And there's an ancient level up above. I built this. These are the doors from our kitchen cabinets, and then I just put in some sandpaper storage. It's labeled here so I know what size it is. A little bit more sandpaper storage over here, which I need to put a couple more shelves in there. I haven't done that yet. I built this shop vac cart from a design online. I'm not really thrilled with it. I think I might take it apart a little bit and bring this all down. Nothing else, so it tucks underneath there. There's a lot of wasted space down below that I need to figure out and deal with. And underneath the radial arm saws, I have a big open space, which I have some Shopsmith parts which are stored underneath there, and then old pallet wood from different pieces of pallet. So here. Back in this corner, I have Harbor Freight dust collector. I think it's 2 horsepower, maybe it's 1.5. I can't remember. It's big, high volume thing. It'll really kind of noisy, but I now have it set up with a remote control so that I can start from the table saw. Some storage here with a grinder. You know, every shop needs bikes, right? That's probably the one thing you'll never see in another workshop, but I have a couple bikes here. A bunch of wood pieces, scrap pieces from Otto's place, most of it is. And then over here in this corner I have just buckets of storage. Up above there's access to the attic, which we have a ton more wood above, again from Otto's place. So then here is another one of the other workbench I had built. This one is on rollers and moves around. It is set at the height of the table saw so that it can help support wood. Underneath there, I have a spindle sander, oscillating spindle sander, and an air pump canister for the air tools. And then here is a table saw I purchased from my friend Chris. It's a jet. It's probably 90s era, maybe a little sooner than that. So 1.5 horsepower table saw. Well, I probably need to replace the bandsaw first as far as replacement things, but this is the one I'm probably saving up to replace. Not that this is a bad thing. It's a wonderful saw. I use it all the time, and I love it a total all the time. But there's new technology out there with the Sawsmith that has some protection stuff that would just make me feel a little bit more comfortable using the tools. So then, and swinging around this way, is the Shopsmith. This is the huge multi-tool piece. This is the engine that drives everything. I had to do some replacement parts in here to get this thing so that the motor worked and everything else, but basically you adjust the speed of these two spindles and it moves things around. There's usually a table that goes here that would hold, it could hold a table saw blade or disc sander or some other things. A drill press would go here as well. And then what I have right now attached to it is the planer. I don't know how much distance that is, 8, 9, 10 inches wide. I love this thing. This is one of the two things that I was particularly excited about with the Shopsmith, was getting this piece, and then next to it is a 4-inch jointer. Both of these are kind of undersized for any kind of real production shop, but this is a fun play shop, but not a production shop, so it's great. The jointer is used to flatten or smooth out two edges, and then you take it over to the planer, smooth out the other side as well. It's good. The other thing about this tool that's interesting, the Shopsmith, is when these two pieces aren't on here and you have the head, this thing will rotate fully 90 degrees and be upright, so then you can use the drill press and the table to use the full length of the drill thing. So you can do a lot of different things with this thing as well. And I have not even scratched the surface of using it because I don't know how to use a lot of it, but it's fun to learn, and now that I got it actually working, that was a huge thing too, is to get the pieces working as well. So I talked fast, but I think that covers the shop.
It uses a lathe too.
Oh yes. As Becky mentioned, this uses a lathe, and I just tried that out. Basically, put a thing here and here, and it'll allow you to turn things, spindles and whatnot. And it actually has a pretty good width. If I had the right kind of chuck, I could turn a bowl sometimes. So I want to try that as well.
What's this above hanging from the ceiling?
That's an air cleaner. Sorry. So I have a Win air cleaner to move some of the dust out. You can already see how dirty and dusty it's gotten.
Oh wow!
Just just being used at this point.
Yeah.
As far as lighting, I have LED lights on this side that keeps wanting to fall down over here. I just put up the new ceiling insulation. I need to put up drywall to kind of hold things better up there. I have one heater so far installed, radiant heat, and then I need to put another one in to kind of keep things down because it gets cold out here, very, very cold, but it's fun to use. I guess the only other thing from your dad's perspective that might be interesting is the old table thing that basically I threw an old desktop on top of the I don't even know what to call it, this workbench Sears thing that allows it to, it's kind of an outfeed table as well as table to put, you know, get all junkied up and everything that way. But and because this is a shop and a garage, this is all garage stuff. It has to be stored as well. It makes things interesting at times when you're trying to move everything around and try to get everything pushed back and put away so that when it is cold and we do want to have a car stored in here, we have to get everything put away. That's why everything's on wheels. That's it.